welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show, Legends and Dragons, episode 27. For here from the Legends Lair here in Hearst, Texas. Chance Morrison, Jim Clemens. 27? Michigan. Bro, I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, how did we get to 27 episodes? Like if you told me we make it before, I'd be like,
I need to start counting and run the new worlds.
Just in general, like I.
You know, they don't actually call it I.
What do they call it?
I don't know. Running the numerals.
They're counted uppercase I's.
Right. I mean, you will use lowercase.
No, whatever.
But when you do you have to use Times New Roman.
So would you knit the pledge? Yeah, no, but you did just. Thank you. Hey, Michael Bolton. Thank you for coming on to the show. I love Michael, and we're going to talk about. This is not the singer, by the way, but we'll talk about that. Hey, so right before we hit record, we were talking about the ladies.
Yeah,
in our life. I have a story.
I always
have a story. Red belt Jimmy Klaus. Probably my first tournament. I have Bolton and Juby doing the continuous. Maybe it was my second one. Continuous spar.
Okay.
Of course, I'm getting my tail whipped by a 19-year-old kid just getting tore up. And so after the fight, I came in second, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You know, there was only two of us. But I gave it a second. So after the fight, I go up to Bolton, like, hey man, listen, when you saw me fight, like, what feedback do you have for me? He was like, listen, Jimmy, you got to take off the helmet, take off the face shield, that because you kind of tend to lead in with your face, and that's okay because you have the face shield. I was like, yeah, no, you're right. I'm going to take this face shield off. So I go home, tell my wife about tournament. I'm like, hey, babe, listen, I said, I'm taking off this face shield. I want to be a better fighter. Bolton said, I'll be a better fighter if I take off the face shield. She goes, you will not be fighting without that face shield on. I said, yes, ma'am. So I sent Bolton a message. I was like, you remember that? And Bolton was like, hey, man, I just want you to know, I went home. I told my wife I'm not wearing the face shield. She says, you're wearing the face shield. I'm wearing the face shield, boys. I'm like, she offers me something that you boys cannot.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't face shield. I'm face shield. The same. What do you think, man? What do you think there, Bolton? Did you have something to it? Yeah, we're in our lives.
I think that that decision, Jimmy, was probably a very wise decision. I've learned, it's been 2 years now. Oh no, 2023. Hertie got here in 2023.
Okay.
We got married in 2022, but 2023 she got here, and what I learned is being married for a year apart is a lot different than being married together. If that makes any sense at all.
Oh, no. It makes plenty of sense. To the guy to your left that has been married 3 times.
Okay.
I'm clear as a bell. Yeah.
I tell Chance he should write a marriage.
I should.
He should. And everything that he says, just do the opposite.
No. Here's the thing. After 3 marriages, I wouldn't tell anybody to do it.
Yeah.
I would just say, this is what I've done.
Oh, you just give all your experience.
This is what I did. And you should do the opposite of everything that I did.
Well, unless they want the same outcome.
I can't imagine you did.
You never know.
Yeah.
Somebody might be, what's something I can read to get me out of this?
Right. It's like, okay, right. So like, wait, have you ever played spades?
Yes.
Like, if you don't know how to play spades, you have to go to jail like the rest of us. In spades, they have a concept called Nello, where you're trying to not get any points.
Correct.
And I have developed that. I know how to go Nello.
Yeah.
I know how to do everything wrong. Yeah.
Where did you meet your wife? Where's that story? I like to hear this story.
Yeah, man. So I was minding my own business in the spring of 2019. Okay. And my friend Chris, who was was a missionary over in he's gone all over the world, doing mission work with his parents and everything else. And he always thought he was going to marry some Scandinavian, tall Swedish girl, right? And then in comes Indonesia, and he met his wife Nika. This was in 2014, I think, and that changed his entire story. Got married, and I was living in Indonesia from 14 to, he just moved back last year. But essentially, you know, he said, hey, there's a woman who saw your picture and she'd be interested in meeting you. And I was like, okay, sure, I guess, you know. I'm pretty good on, you know, let's just kind of, I was, you know, living life. I was just doing my thing. It was nice. When I wasn't really looking for anything, right? And so February of 2019, that's when I, you know, send me her name. I did a quick little, you know, Facebook search. You know, let me see what's going on here. I saw her and then sent her, you know, shot her a message, and she actually returned one back. You know, so that was the biggest surprise of them all. Right? Oh, like,
Right.
all right. Well, if that's the case, so, you know, we started talking in 2019, and by the end of 19, I decided, hey, you know, this is, I don't believe in coincidences and everything else. And I don't in any way, shape, or form believe in, you know, soulmates or anything like that. But I do believe that you meet people and, you know, there's divine connections and everything else. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go meet this girl in Indonesia. Never been to Indonesia. And if she is the same person in life as she has been this past year over the intranet and whatnot, then you know what? I'm gonna ask her to marry me. And we got there, and yeah, she was the same. Now that's a funny story. You know, you get there, and she had all these people. You know, she was telling these, you know, people in her life, hey, this white guy from America, he's coming over. And, you know, things might get serious. And because I said, you know, obviously you don't talk to somebody who's 10,000 miles away without throwing the cards on the table and saying, hey, like, I'm not wasting my time here. Are you interested in marriage? Right. Like you throw everything down, right? You have to. It's not like here where we meet up for coffee and we can get to know each other. Right. No, here it is. And so she had these people, you know, especially her pastor or whatever, you know, saying, hey, and you're going to meet him. And if he's the right guy, you know, if there's any red flags, you need to tell me. If not, then we'll move forward. We'll proceed. Right. Yeah. And so I knew that was going to happen. And then I knew I was going to meet her family. And whenever I say family, whenever you think of family, like Jimmy Klaus's family, you think of Jimmy, his family, his wife, his 2 kids. It's Jimmy Klaus's family. Right. Yeah. So I was going to meet her family. Single woman, you think mom, dad, brother, nieces. There's 47. There are 47 of them. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And I meet all of them. Okay. And not all, but sure, a lot, majority of them.
And more than you would meet here.
Correct.
Yeah.
On the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe a family reunion.
It's like a panel.
But yeah. Bro, that is a great way to put it. That was a panel with absolutely nobody being able to speak English. Yeah. Except for me and her team. And so there was a lot of this going on.
Yeah, there.
And one uncle. There was one uncle who spoke minute enough to be able to him to grab me and share with the rest of the people coming up to see what the commotion was. That this is now my American white friend, and please entertain.
Awesome.
So that is awesome. Yeah, that's where it was. And then I got back a week before the world shut down in 2020.
Well, right before the world went crazy. Indonesia. Yeah, have you been to Indonesia?
Well, here's the thing. I have never been across either pond.
Okay. You've been to Mexico.
Okay, so I've been everywhere you can get in a 5-hour flight. Like if you draw a yarn string from DFW, 5 hours in any direction, I've been everywhere.
Yeah.
I cannot be on a plane longer than 5 hours. And 5 hours is pushing it. No, I can't.
What? Just you don't like the feeling?
Well, the flying doesn't bother me at all.
Right. Yeah.
It's the proximity to other people. I can't be packed in like lemmings into shiny metal boxes. I can't be packed. Here's the thing.
Lemmings. Absolutely. Lemmings.
Thank you. I could 100% fly anywhere on the other planets.
Okay.
If I were rich.
Because you'd be by yourself.
I could fly first class, and I could have one of those little Singapore Airlines little hotel rooms.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you could isolate me from other people, I could stay on there for days.
Okay.
But, like, I don't know if you've been on a plane. But if we were to take these chairs,
It was a boat.
and set them on top of each other,
Right.
Yeah.
and then try to sit in the individual chairs, that's what an airplane is like. And for 12 hours,
Yeah. just up that close.
I don't, like, I'm uncomfortable just telling the story right now.
Okay.
I cannot be. And the other thing is the airplane etiquette.
Yeah.
You know, there's no book on it. There should be.
There should, because here's the rule. The rule is you have window, you have middle,
Right.
I have aisle. Window gets the window and one armrest. Middle gets two armrests.
Yep.
Aisle gets one armrest and a little bit of leg room.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
And I don't think if we're doing an etiquette on planes, I don't think if your flight is over 2.5 hours, you should be able to recline into somebody's lap either. If we're just throwing that out there,
Yeah.
I don't appreciate flying over a huge ocean. So with homeboy's head in my lap.
So here's the problem is I can handle that and them not doing it right
Okay.
for 3 to 5 hours.
Fair enough.
I'll stab someone in the neck with a knife at 12 hours. I can't handle it. Like, I just can't handle
Not
it.
allowed to bring knives on airplanes.
No, understand. So you would,
So now, would you scope a knife?
no, but I would sneak a pencil in.
I don't think you have to sneak a pencil.
Yeah, we can jump.
I think you can just bring that in.
You know where I would sneak it in?
Where?
It's nostril.
Amazing.
So you would stick the pencil up your nostril like a magic trick.
Okay.
Just to feel like you're
Really, TSA, we're just joking, by the way. I mean, CIA.
I'm not.
And it was that day that chance was on these things. But moving forward.
So Indonesia, how long were you there?
The first time I was there for 3 weeks, from February to March 7th or whatever. And then, the second time I went, I was there for 6 weeks because that's whenever we got married.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
How's the food?
dude, it's amazing. So here's the deal. Like I lost what, like 20 pounds. And if you know me for any amount of time, I have gone like this with my weight gain, right? Like up, down, across,
Sideways.
You know, it is what that here. I'm very active, which is very strange to me. But so I get there, and if you like humidity and you like showering and then instantly having to shower,
Right.
then go to Indonesia.
Okay.
Because that's all it is.
Yeah.
Is humidity. Okay, then it might not be for you. But I did nothing else differently. Like I ate. We went out to eat all the time. I lost weight, and so the food was amazing. Yeah, I think the difference is it's all processed junk here.
Right. Not there. It's real food.
It's real food, and so, dude, it was staggering. Like just okay, like how. So I have this theory. Really, I mean, yeah, it's a theory, but I really think you go anywhere else in the world where it's real food. I think that bodies would completely change, like from an American to.
It's not a theory.
Fair enough.
It's not a theory. It is. I don't mean to.
There's this fly about to kill this fly. So
Did you get it? No, he didn't get it. Of course he got it. Hold on, man.
Mr. Miyagi said, "Not yet." Just
get out of my face.
you did not get it.
I did. I bet you I did. I bet you I did. Anyway, since the black.
So
anyway,
We bet $1,000.
it is, and I don't mean to go, Pizzagate, Epstein's Island on everybody.
Do it.
But there is a great deal of money
No.
in us being sick.
Oh, I agree with that.
And nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
You don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about it. Bury your head in the sand.
Let's talk about it. Yeah,
Guys, it's the food.
Yeah.
It's the food that we are putting in our bodies in this country that is doing it. And if we would just scale back to what you just said and just eat real food.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is, you can be vegan if you want, whatever. But here's the thing. Oreos are vegan.
Ugh.
Vegan doesn't necessarily mean healthy.
No.
So it is anything that comes in a pack. So here's the best advice for anybody dietary wise. The outside of the grocery store.
Boom. That's it.
Stay away from anything in the aisles. Yeah. Everything around the outside is real food.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just eat whole foods. So you can eat paleo, you can eat carnivore, you can eat vegan, but just make sure it's not packaged and processed.
Yeah. And what you find, legit, like what you find, I'm eating, what helps too is having a wife who
cooks real food.
Who cooks real food, 100%. And eating like the fruits and you can almost eat as much of
you really can.
Yeah. And you will get filled up to where you don't want to eat anymore. But my go-to snack as a late is grapes. Because they're almost completely all water.
Yep.
They help you stay hydrated.
Yep.
And I can eat a million of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not really adding that many calories.
Yeah.
Do you know what the big trick that they played on us was?
What's that?
It's genius. It's genius what they've done. So they've hijacked our brains.
Correct.
Okay. And the reason that I say that is because we evolved as a species, the taste, like things that taste good. Mm-hmm. In the world of real food, if it tastes better, it's calorie rich. Mm. And if it's calorie rich, we can eat it and go longer before we starve to death. Mm. So like if you're out in nature and you're hunting and gathering, the better it tastes, the better it is for you.
Right. It's good.
But what they did is around, 100, 150 years ago, is they made stuff that isn't actual food taste really good. So our brains are like, this is good for me. I'm going to survive. We haven't evolved to outsmart that yet. And so that's why we just constantly put this stuff in our bodies, because it tastes good, because it's capitalized on a natural thing that humans have had of eating to taste. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like if you kill a bison and you eat, grain, that tastes good. And it's sustaining us. Mm-hmm. But a Snickers bar tastes even better.
Because it's got chocolate
in our brain. Our brain is geared to go, this is good for me.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we eat to taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ditch all the packets to Indonesia.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. Yes, yeah, I did it. I absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Reality Day. I got that fly.
Oh,
thank you.
Look at that.
I missed it. Yeah.
No, it's right here. I won't get here.
Jeff Goldblum.
I'll clean that up in a minute.
Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Did The Fly. Did you see The Fly?
In 1984.
I really like Gina Davis. She was in Beetlejuice. She's not in the new Beetlejuice.
She's not. She actively chose not to be.
Well, of course she did. Yeah. Yeah, because of The Fly. So Indonesia.
Yes, Indonesia.
All right. Did you know?
I'm digging.
You're digging. This is where. All right. So Indonesia is the home of pencak silat.
It is.
And from what I can gather, the silats were the roots of original Kali. Philippines very close to Indonesia.
Very close. So you would actually be able to go to the Philippines in your airplane
from Indonesia.
If your airplane rule about 5 hours, you could get back and forth to all of those places.
Yeah, I know.
It's like 2.5 hours. Yeah, you would dig it. Actually, that's what, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we need to do. We need to figure out a way to get Chance Burleson on the other side of the world.
Dude, I can do it on a boat.
You don't
can't get.
Oh, dude,
Elon, hey, give us a call.
I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah, he's got some.
If Chance Burleson has done anything for you in life, then let's get a first-class ticket for this man over to the place so that he can study more and bring the stuff. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, you could hit Vietnam. You could hit absolutely. the Philippines. You could hit Indonesia, all those places that have rich history that you love anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, first, we're looking at about 3,500 to 4,500 plus the stay. But once you get there,
I'll pay for the stay.
It's cheap. So we just need a first class plane ticket.
Now, but here's the problem with the first class plane ticket.
Okay.
It can't just be a big seal.
No, dude. Like
I want my own space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at probably about 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Because if we get the ones where they can lay down, have you been?
Yeah, but I haven't been in the pods yet,
Dude, those, and I'm talking like I'm.
Yeah, like we know.
Emirates.
Yeah. The first time I went to Rwanda was on that. And so you walk past, like you're shuttled past.
Yeah.
You're shuttled past the stairway that goes to where I can never be. Right. And like you're looking up and they just, okay, keep going. But these like you have your own pod and you can lay down and it's your own bed, dude. That's what you need. That's what you need. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my plea, Michael Bolton's plea to everybody listening. Let's get this man a first class plane.
You know what? It could be one way. I'm not coming back. So the raid 2.
Yes.
If you're taking over for him, I guess.
The raid and the raid 2. We talked about martial arts movies. Those are Indonesian.
Yes, sir.
You know what else Indonesia has?
What's that?
Indonesians. Do you know what else it has? It has some of the best horror movies, scary movies. No, I don't have a scary movie, guys. Indonesia's horror movies are unbelievably good. They're so good. Yeah.
I'm not watching any. I'm sorry, I'm not scared. Hey, by the way,
No, I'm
happy birthday, dude.
Hey, thank you very much.
When was my birthday?
Yesterday.
How old are you?
I am not a bit 42. Well, what's funny is
We talked about how old we are.
Yeah, the last one. And then I wanted to say that. Nikki said there were the burn months, but then she's like, well, nothing really, Labor Day. That's not true. I was born in September. So if anybody is having a reason to like September, yep.
Well, Nikki did, yeah, she said September. She liked October, November, December.
Yeah, and then you brought up, what about September? Or you did?
No,
Somebody brought up September and Labor Day.
Green Day.
Green Day. Hey, let me tell you one of the things I love about. Well, I love a lot about you, but
Thanks, man.
one of the things is when we have our martial arts end of year or wherever, right? You tend to get a Michael Bolton CD and you auction it off, and then you sign it.
Yeah.
I love that. What possessed you to do that? Like, what was the first time you did that? Like, you know what? Michael Bolton, not the singer. That's how you introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Michael Bolton, not the singer.
Well, that whole catchphrase started whenever I was waiting tables in college.
Okay.
Because it's an icebreaker, right? And you learn at some point in time, because if you're given a name like that, your choices in life are
Lean into it
or just be a complete jack wagon about it your entire life. And
Kids are watching this.
Jack, Jack, it is a great. I like Jack Wagon. I don't think Jack Wagon is Jack Wagon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so from an early age, I learned, okay, you're going to have to just get it, this thing, right? And then it didn't help. And about the time, and this is the time now where Michael Bolton is starting to become irrelevant again. So I'm looking, because there's stages. There's when a man loves a woman stage of my life, right? And just by the way, I was not named after him. He didn't become popular until 85, and he was a hard rock singer. He actually auditioned for, I believe, Whitesnake.
You're okay. You're kidding.
I'm not.
Are you serious?
Dude, he was a
hard rock
in the 70s and early.
That's what the hair is from.
1,000%.
Oh, wow.
You learn stuff. It's all coming together. I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for a while, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So Michael Bolton trivia it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I was born in 82. Yeah. Just to throw that out there, I was not named after him. But so, you have that when Man Loves a Woman real popular, and then he slumps down, and it's gone, oh yeah, that was funny. And then Office Space comes out, right? And the whole Michael Bolton joke with all of that. And I remember sitting in the theater with my friends when that came out, and they're like, sitting with you two, and then it would just imagine that takes off 1,000%. Right. And so he becomes relevant again, right?
Yeah.
And so then, and then he falls down again. And then a few years later, he does Lonely Island with, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
And so he becomes relevant again. And so it's like this roller coaster of, I know how old people are by which Michael Bolton
They recognize.
they recognize.
Like Master of Puppets is that Stranger Things song.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just from there, just from Stranger Things. Yeah, like Zeppelin is that Thor song.
Right.
Yep. They wrote it just for just for Thor.
1,000%. Or like, Rudy, he was Sam.
Right.
Well, it's like when Taylor Swift and Paul McCartney took a photo together, and when the comments was like, she's going to make him appear.
yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be really good for his image. Yeah.
Please, young, just you have like the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Fill your pocket. Use it for something besides whatever you're using it for.
What's your first martial arts class?
When was my first one? 1999. I was 7 years old.
Where
Here? Or no, the colony. Yeah, the colony.
Okay.
But just to answer your question about the Michael Bolton CD.
Oh, yeah.
It was a couple years ago. Yeah, chance.
That's a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, I turned into the skid and I started signing them as Christmas presents. So I'll do that throughout the year. I'll find Michael Bolton CDs and records at used places.
And I would like a signed Michael Bolton.
I think one.
Under you, he does have them. He does.
Actually, because Michael loves me.
He does love you more. All right, so you're from Texas.
I am from Texas. I'm sorry.
Born and raised. There was, other than going to Indonesia, have you been outside? Have you traveled outside of Texas?
Yeah, for sure. Back to your point with the I started in 1989, right? And that was a long time ago. And we traveled, we'd hit Oklahoma, East Texas, West Texas, Louisiana, the very first karate tournament. That's why my very first karate tournament was in Shreveport, Louisiana, whenever I was a yellow belt. I'd been in karate for 2.5, 3 months.
6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, there's this tournament. Let's go fight. And we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so whenever, parents, I love all of you, but whenever you complain about a 45-minute drive,
I don't want to hear it.
We don't want to hear it. So, so that's how that went. So outside of there, and then my mom was from Iowa, so we traveled up to Iowa. But the traveling, it didn't start till I was in my 30s.
So what kind of martial arts? A7.
I started with Yanwa-Ryu Taekwondo with the now Grandmaster Juan Galvan.
Okay. He was your first.
He was first instructor. It got started. 88. Here come the Ninja Turtles, right? Like the original Ninja Turtles comic books and all that. And so I was checking sewers and whatnot to find them because surely they live in the colony.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do martial arts anyway, right? But then I went to school and I was drinking from the water fountain and I got too close to the spigot. You know what I mean? And so these 3 kids behind me start, just dragging me and then, all this stuff. And so I was getting kind of bullied and my mom picked me up and we were going to the grocery store. She went to go get a gallon of milk. And in the 80s, you could actually leave your kids in the car. I know it's hard to believe. Yeah. Y'all remember. Yeah. Some of you probably don't.
I'm surprised that you survived.
Right. I know she cracked the windows. But these 3 kids, and I think I was in what are you, first, second grade?
That was certain first grade if you're 7.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, first, second grade.
So these kids were 3rd or 4th, and they ride by on their bicycles and they see me and they try to pull me out of my mom's car. And my mom comes out and sees it and she, scares them off. And then the next day I was enrolled in Taekwondo.
Okay.
And so that is, along with wanting to be a Ninja Turtle, the bullying aspect.
So you do jiu-jitsu. I know that we'll talk about that in a second. Taekwondo. Mm-hmm. What other disciplines have you?
So American karate, and I do consider them different.
Taekwondo and American Karate?
I know they are two separate systems. And so American Karate wrestling.
Okay.
And then just nothing much other than, you know, a little bit of boxing. What a lot of people don't know, if you know Juan, he of course is a ninth degree black belt now, and you know, Taekwondo, amazing fighter, but he was also a Golden Gloves boxer growing up. And so I was lucky enough we came up in Taekwondo, and it was traditional, you know, it was Grandmaster on Korea, like Taekwondo kicks, spins, everything else. But since Master Juan was a Golden Gloves boxer, we did a lot of boxing.
Okay.
A lot.
What was the transition from that school to Holin's?
So great question. So I started wrestling in high school. And so that's whenever I stopped with karate. I trained from 7 to 16, so 9 years. And then I went to wrestling and wrestled throughout high school. And then I found a online posting for a job instructor.
Oh, so you were already a black belt and a wrestler.
I was a second degree black belt in Yanwaru Taekwondo.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so whenever I came over to Holin's, I started training with Holin, and that is second degree black belt in Yanwaru Taekwondo, 5th degree in American Karate.
Okay.
And so two separate. Sure.
Very cool.
No, it is really cool. And then now you just competed in Vegas.
I did.
For jiu-jitsu. And man, I'm on a screen. Wait, what is it again? It's jiu-jitsu. Is it worldly?
No, it's IBJJF, and it was Master Workings.
Okay.
Out in Vegas. And then,
Was that the first time competing at the Worlds?
yes, absolutely. I won one, and then I lost the next one. But I'm okay with it, right? Like, this is the first, and if I'll have plenty of chances at Brown Belt Master Worlds, I'm not going anywhere for a while. I am solidified for a while.
Okay. It's just interesting that you said I won one and lost one. It's the competing at the IBJJF Master Worlds and winning one is like winning.
Yeah.
And so
I would love
Daniel Hill, he's one of my black belts here, comes back from the Integrity Classic. And I was like, hey, because I had to leave before he fought.
Right.
I was like, how'd you do? And he goes, I got 3 points on shipping. I was like, that's like winning.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You get any points on Corey shipping.
Yeah.
Is might as well. I did that's like being able to come in and say, dude, I walked over everybody in my division.
I would take it off if I got those points, I just want you to know, if I were to get any points on shipping, I would take off my headgear and I would just walk off the mat. That's it. Yeah, I
have a ride.
Yeah. What's the score?
That's like winning your first match at Jiu-Jitsu World Leagues. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'd be like, what's the final score? Jimmy shipped 25-2.
But two.
It's like when the Hulk says, like, hey, I take this as a total win. When he gets him back from the time travel in the Avengers movie. Yeah. He's like, this is a total win.
Yeah. So when did you start jiu-jitsu?
I started jiu-jitsu in 13?
Okay.
2013. Yeah.
All right.
So started I was at Owens. I was the program director and had instructor there, and they had started a jiu-jitsu program there.
Oh, okay.
And they were a top team, weren't they? They were Brazilian.
No, not yet. No. So they started with, actually, there was a lot of transition, but the main coach that ended up staying, who I trained under first, was Fred Ramey, and he was under Anato Debares.
Okay.
But Fred was awesome, man. Just a short little Hawaiian dude.
Yeah.
And he was in the Army, he moved around a lot. And so he was here finishing out, and then he had to move a year later to Georgia. He was finishing out his certs, right?
Right.
But no, Fred was awesome, man. And it's, I love Fred, and he really gave me a love for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so it was Hanato Tavares, and then he had to go off, and then it changed a couple different times. And I eventually had separated from Olin, just as far as trained the job and everything. And so in 2018, I was looking, because I quit I took off 8-9 months. Okay. I wasn't training jiu-jitsu, and I was looking for a morning daytime class, and I found Brazilian adopting. Okay. In Richardson.
All right.
And that is, that's how I ended.
That's where you landed, and that's what you still are.
That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. That's cool.
Leonardo Machado, he is, he's, and you guys know this, and being an instructor, you know this. You have students, but then you have friends. You have friends too. Greg, so they're y'all's friends, right? And everything else, and that's how I feel about Machado. Is he's my friend. He's a professor. Just short of God intervening, sure, he'll put a black belt around.
So is there, and I wanted to know this is Leonardo Machado.
Yes.
Is there any distant relation between all of the Machado brothers? So it's just a common Brazilian name.
Yeah, it's like Smith. Johnson.
So this
Machado is, okay.
It's like when in Vietnam.
When, that'll work.
Well, let me tell you what this clown did. All right, so
what clown?
Me clown, not Chance clown, so you clown.
Me clown.
Yeah, this. So I just started training. I mean, great, but just a little white belt, just a small little white belt. This guy, we're at the.
You say that like we're not both still white.
But we're second.
Back when I was a white belt.
No, but we're second degree white belts then.
And that's a big thing.
Out of seconds.
It is. That's a huge thing.
But hey, Nick, you listen to this story. So this guy at the tournament, about a year and a half ago or whatever, he was like, "Hey, Jimmy, let's roll." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So this is like in between breaks, when we're judging and all the other stuff. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." This dude
At a karate tournament?
At a karate tournament. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." So I take off my gi top and whatever. I'm like, "Okay." So I've been here trying to give my friend. There's no framing with this guy. And he gets in side control, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I finally had a tap, and I'm like, "Dude, how did that make you feel good?" So I give it.
Yeah, it did actually. I remember the exact feeling of just pressure tapping you, and I was like, I can quit jujitsu now.
If pressure tap could demo or sell that, it would be on the controlled substance app.
I agree.
So, Jimmy, this is why I'm smarter than you.
Go on.
Okay. I understand.
There's a plethora of reasons, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
I understand that we're the same rank in jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Okay. I have, however, been in jiu-jitsu longer than you.
Yeah.
And I would not have rolled with Mike. When he said, "Hey, we should roll," I'd have said something that I can't repeat on the blue.
But that's my toxic trait.
I know.
My toxic trait is somebody said, "Hey, Jimmy, come on." I'm like, "All right, yeah."
I would have like used misdirection. I'd be like, "Oh, I got to start this division." But I mean, like, I wouldn't have been like,
because I'm not a judge.
Wow, Clay.
Actually, no, we're not going to start it yet. I'm sitting. All the parents watching. I've got.
Bring your friends over here. We're about to learn an object lesson.
You're telling the story like I premeditated this. Just smashing.
I'm sure you did.
I wanted to give back.
Yeah.
I have learned, and Chance would agree with this.
It's basically community service.
It is. It 1,000% is. I wanted to give back, and I wanted to help a fellow jiu-jitsu training guy who just started his journey.
So here's the thing.
But I was being nice.
He was being nice. Yeah. I can't possibly believe.
Yeah, go on.
That he would have enjoyed such a lackluster challenge. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it would have been about like grappling. I called PF on that.
Listen, if you want to be mad at anything, okay? No.
Chance.
No. Listen, legit, you be mad at gravity. Be mad and upset at gravity, because the heavier the object, the heavier it feels on you. And really, my size, it was gravity's fault that you got smacked. Not
just know that
because that's my move, gravity.
If you had put him in a side control, it wouldn't work.
Because it's science.
Michael blinded me with science.
Did he?
Science!
He blinded you with science. Hey, when's the first time you met that guy?
Oh man. So, I was thinking about this whenever you sent that over. There is a chance.
Oh, no chance.
There's a slight chance that we would have ran across each other back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Through United States Karate Alliance tournaments and
tournaments.
Yeah, all the tournament circuits. But he's a slide, just a tiny bit older than I am.
Like 20 years.
Oh, it's your story.
And did you
Like 20 years, right?
It's true. 20. This guy.
Shut up.
You say shut up.
It's a bunch of wine.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy, I understand now. At first, I was on your side.
Right.
I was like, right.
Now you see
I do.
the abuse.
I feel for you.
We handed you back here. Come on, Nick.
I feel for you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, him.
Oh, yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, quite definitely.
All right.
But no, there's we could have ran into it. So there were probably some circles that we ran in, right? But I didn't officially meet him until 2009. I want to say it was probably one of Valdez's tournaments. And the first, if you don't know this, Chance and I, his wife.
On twins?
We just hate life. No. So I saw Chance and I saw him judging, and I was very, very new to the league and all that. And, I of course knew who your dad was, every, I don't grow up. Yeah. And so you hear, oh, that's Chance Burleson. And the realization, hits. And so this realization of, oh, wow, okay, cool. Like name wise and everything else. And then seeing him judge, because legit, and you hear this all the time, I'm sure you hear this, but it's kind of the last name Burleson is royalty in the martial arts, right? And so, but then you see Chance and who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that he is welcoming everybody and he's making everybody in that ring feel like they are the most important person on the face of this planet. Yeah. And it's like, that guy will be friends with.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is, in case you didn't know, that was the first thought I had of you, of I've got to, I don't know how I'm going to finagle my way into this.
You pulled it off.
Yeah.
Hold on, but this is my favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Is when we talk great about Chance, because it makes him so uncomfortable. So please, I want to know. So the first time you said, I want to be friends with that guy makes everyone special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, go on, man. I want to go pour your people.
Well, then I met him, and and then I didn't care, and he just
Well, he does, and we talked about it many, many times.
Yeah.
That's why he has a successful school. And did your pictures, by the way, your class sizes are, I mean, it's all. We had
grade 46, sure, teens and adults in the adult class.
the fact that
have you broken the 50 mark yet?
No.
That's just teens. The fact, and what I don't think a lot of people realize, unless you've owned a school, you don't realize it, right? Is especially in traditional martial arts. Now it's different with jiu-jitsu, it is, and I have that theory too. Jiu-jitsu today is what karate was in the 80s.
Right.
And nobody,
The hot ticket item.
1000%, and people don't realize that, but because in the 80s. Seeing 40, 50 adults in a class or teenagers and adult, that was just a Wednesday. Yeah. Because that's trained. Right. But now today, in the atmosphere that we're in and everything else, a traditional martial arts academy having that many adults and teens is phenomenal.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
And I will say, because obviously I don't go to Legends, has a lot to do with not just you, but your instructors who you have raised up to awesome teach on the massive good job.
Well, I think, people ask me, like, what's my best trait? Like, what is the best thing about me? And my very first answer is the people in my life. That is the best thing about me and my life are the people that, like, the Nickies and the Pruitts and the Pucketts and the Creeches and, the McCains and the Rogers and like all these guys that I have that I've kind of raised up.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is I lost count of how many children are now in my school.
Yeah.
Like kids from 10, 20 years ago that I taught have brought me their kids. I'm waiting. Here's the milestone. I'm waiting for the first grandchild of a child I taught when I was a child.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I was talking to
Quiet down, Jim Cat.
Hey, you started to listen.
sorry, look, I listen, don't sass me. Don't sass me.
Come on. It's switched. I love how from the course of the beginning of this, it was like, no, shut up, Jimmy.
Yeah. So what's interesting is well, now I don't know what else.
You're talking about the generation, the that's going to be your first one from the grandparent. You're going to bring the grand.
I can't wait to have the. This is what they're going to say.
You have a grandkid.
Do I have the grandchild of a child that I taught?
So it would be the child that you taught.
You have a grandchild of a black belt, but you don't have a.
No, it doesn't count until it's a kid that I taught.
It'd be like
So it would have to be A, B, and C.
Yes.
It would have to be A, you taught A as a child, A grows up, has a child, B grows up, has a child, and that you're
now that child.
There it is.
Yes.
Okay.
so close to it, my friend.
Wow.
So
This guy,
So what's interesting
48 years ago.
I was talking to Bloss, and I was talking to Hanshi last week. And we were having a conversation with Nikki. I am more in love with what I do now than I have ever been in my entire life. And I've done this since I was 15.
Yeah.
How am I not sick of this?
that's a nary question.
And I think the key is staying a student.
Oh, dude,
That's it, staying a student.
Yeah.
I'm so fiercely proud of that white electrical tape on my jiu-jitsu belt.
Yeah.
I'm fiercely proud of it. So when Muay Thai with Bloss, doing Kali with Tom, doing jiu-jitsu with Philip, doing Kyokushin with Duval. I'm just everything that made me fall in love with martial arts as a child. I'm still doing that, and I think that's the key.
And it's not a job though. It doesn't feel like a job. You come up here and
It is a job. There's plenty of stuff about what I do that I don't like, of course, but I'm willing to do it.
Because of
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the key, man. Is again, and you were born in it, right? Like it's just it is what it is. You're going to do this. I'm sure you had choices and all that,
Dude, I have 3 other siblings
Right.
that didn't do this.
right?
Like I'm the only one that was. I mean, Luke runs a school,
Of course.
but there's 7 of us.
Okay,
Yeah. So
but no, like the remembering of that feeling that you were. I would not imagine, I know, but that feeling of pouring everything out and not being able to get anything poured back in, because at some point in time, you just feel like you're repetitively speaking, right? Like everybody here has heard exactly what I've said, but you being a student, you get to get filled back up.
it's also kryptonite for, and this is a cautionary tale for every black belt. If you're a black belt, especially if you're a school owner, I don't know, maybe this is going to insult you. I hope it doesn't. It's said from love. But it really is said from love. You are not who your students think you are.
No.
You are not that person.
No.
You are a person.
Correct.
yeah.
And they have built you up in your head, in their mind. And if we don't stay in the Shoshin, in the beginner's mind, if we don't stay a student, we fall for it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I will start falling. There's a catchphrase that I can't repeat on the podcast of Chance Expletive Burleson.
Right.
Okay. That guy doesn't exist.
Right.
It is a small aspect of my personality, but it is the entire personality that many of my students think exists.
Right.
And if I don't stay a student, I'll start thinking that's who I am too.
Yeah.
And that's called arrogance.
Yeah.
you start thinking you can mind push people.
Yes.
Because you've been built up.
Yeah.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
So you've made a change recently, as the last few months. You have taken a different role, if you will, because you were instructing on the mats, a lot, and now you are doing. What are you doing now? Like, go ahead and speak. Because listen, man, everybody knows if you are. I'm a Jesus freak.
Right.
Love it. Right. I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast. Of course, without it, I would probably be dead. Right. Not be dead. I would be dead. But but you have made a career move, if you will.
So, if you don't know, I owned a martial arts academy for, and that was my dream, man. I remember, again, growing up in it, it's like, that's all I wanted to do.
That's the pinnacle.
It was, and for me, my academy, like at first my mom had to drive me, but then my wand moved within a quarter of a mile from me. So I would walk from school to karate, and that's where I lived.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Like we know these kids who are at the school dojo all the time. That's where
Dojo rat.
1,000%.
Yeah. Matt Rat.
Yeah.
Matt Rat. That's who I was. That's what I said. I'm going to, and it's funny. Yeah. Well, Proverbs says, Proverbs 18:21 says that the power of life and death is in the tongue, and those who eat of it will enjoy its fruits, right? But I grew up saying, I'm going to be a martial arts. I'm going to own my own school.
Yeah.
And everything I remember as a kid that I used to say that has happened in my life, right? And so, and don't get weird. I'm talking about connect. Anyway, different story right there. But my point is that's what I wanted to do. And so I co-owned a school for 9 years, and that's what I wanted to do. And I really found, and I think you would agree with this, and even you, because you do help instruct. It's not. And my whole thing, whenever I started the academy, was even the motto of the school was, cultivating the next generation through integrity and discipline, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but what and if you teach anybody is our students are going to use who they are, the character that you put in them, so much more than the kicker punches. 1,000%. And so for me, karate and martial arts has always been kind of a ministry within itself. I'm able to speak into the life of kids. And the first time a kid, one of my old students, Anthony, he came in, and I just remember seeing him as this 8-year-old terrified kid.
Yeah.
And now he's a 16-year-old first-degree black belt who wrestles and has the confidence of and very quiet still, but very respectful. But if you jacked with him,
right,
and he knows that that's the beauty of it. And so just being being able to speak into his life, and he comes to church and everything else. But so for me, understand whenever I base this, understand like that was my calling, like that's what I was going to do, and I was fulfilled that, right?
Good.
And then I remember it was last year, and I just started getting this inkling of, go ahead and mention it now, Jimmy.
You started getting the England one of the ministry fold,
right? It's time to, and I was sitting there and praying through it, and anytime I start feeling a certain way, you start praying about it. And if anybody here is like me, I've told God no more than I've just jumped out and been like, I'm faithful, I'm ready to go, right? Like actually though, God, I don't think that's what you meant, right? So I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing. And just as time went on and everything else, it was more and more evident that it was, him calling me out was becoming true.
The direction was undeniable.
It was.
Yeah.
It came to that point. And so I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to play out, but I knew that I was having a call for evangelism.
Okay.
And so I knew that I was going to start teaching classes at my church for evangelism and everything else. And I've also learned in my 42 years, don't ever say never, because that's when you'll be doing exactly what you said. I don't foresee myself, and I'm not the type of person to be standing on the street corner with a microphone saying that you're gonna go to hell. Like that's not how I was wanting to cross straight. Now repentance, it is repent, but not that way. I was brought to Christ while intoxicated on a beach whenever I was 17.
You're right.
And I couldn't move. What better time to share the gospel with somebody than when they can't move?
Right. Tap the body.
1,000%. Okay.
That's the time to practice.
It absolutely is. So I knew that was going to happen. And so in that faith context of knowing, it was, okay, let's step out and let's do this. Not knowing how, because the church, it wasn't like the church said, hey, we got this great position for you. And everything that you like, you're going to be taken care of, right? Yeah, like that. And this is the first, and any pastor who has walked any in life, will tell you, hey, you probably shouldn't jump until you have something lined up for your family. Right? Yeah. Now there's faith and everything else, but you better, people say, just to go on this route, if you have the faith of a mustard seed and Peter walked on water and everything else, well, you know what? The reason that people don't walk on water today is because Jesus hasn't called them to walk on water. Yeah. Jesus called Peter to walk on water. And so if you try to do what Peter did, you sink. Yeah. Because you haven't been given the authority to be able to do that. Yeah. Right. And so there are things that God and Jesus calling you to, and you better make sure, because but there's so many times today that people will sit there and be like, well, in faith, I did this, but did God tell you? Yeah. Because you can have the faith, and you have faith in Jesus, but Jesus isn't calling you to that. And so you're going to fall on your face because that's not what he's called you to do. And so therefore people get in this weird, I had faith, but then he failed. And no, you weren't listening.
So let's talk about that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You got me preaching.
I know, which I like, because to the person listening, they're probably saying, oh, well, you hear this big booming voice from God. But you tell people, was that what it was?
That is, Steve. Tell God's voice is the voice.
So one of the things that I have seen a lot, especially in the faith community, is just because you use certain language doesn't mean that's the truth.
Yeah.
You say, like, I took this step and did this on faith.
Right.
Here's the problem. How do you know that's not just what you want to do and you're using the right words to make it sound good?
Correct.
And here's the problem. No one knows that but you. Nobody can say, hey, you're wrong about that.
Right.
So this is a level of self-honesty and self-awareness that I was having this discussion the other night with somebody. Have you ever heard the phrase, there's nothing more irritating than the newly converted?
That's the, I was.
Yeah. So here's the thing about the nomenclature of religion. I'm assuming it's the same for somebody that converts to Islam or somebody that converts to Zen Buddhism or whatever. I just don't have the experience with people that, you know what I mean? I live in Texas. So my experience is people
Baptist.
So I'm not saying that God cannot take somebody who has ruined their life with bad choices and bad behaviors and turn them into a new creature like that with zero work on their part.
Okay.
Zero work.
Right.
Like no therapy, no better choices, no nothing. Right. I was looting and pillaging for the Mexican mafia doing hits. And then I went to church and turned my life over.
Right.
And now I'm not anything like that anymore. And I think there's this concept that I'm not saying it's impossible.
Right.
What I'm saying is I've never seen it happen. I've never seen somebody go from a person who has just done bad decision after bad decision after bad decision into somebody who makes consistently good decisions overnight. There's a process of learning and growing. I mean, even in the church, they call it growing in your faith and stuff like that. You know, what I think we don't say is doing work on yourself. So that you know whether you're actually acting in his will or it's just something you want to do right now.
And your walk with Christ anyway isn't like a martial arts journey. you're not going to get on the mats as a white belt.
That's what I'm saying. But there's an assumption that happens.
Right.
Like immediately.
And so I think and I'll speak to this because you said it, and I agree with that. Where I disagree on the transformation is you said people will go to church and then change. I never went somewhere and changed.
Right.
But because I know who I was. Right. And I know the extremely bad person.
Right. At 17.
Oh, and then past that. Right. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
100%. But whenever you truly understand that every bad thing that you were has now been washed, and that's, if you choose, you don't have to walk in that anymore.
You don't.
And now here comes the work. But I think for a lot of people, the realization, the heaviness of, I was this absolute piece of garbage.
Shame. Sure.
And now it's off.
Sure.
Right. But in what you said is, if you're my instructor, I think, because I've watched you coach at tournaments, right? As a matter of fact, Chance and I have coached against each other a whole lot.
Yeah.
Your students know what to do by your small, still, right?
Right.
They know, because they know you guys are connected there. And you can almost give looks of, hey, this is what I want you to do, and you need to bring them over, and then you don't have to speak very well.
Right.
But they know you.
Right. But that took time.
It did take time. And if you want to grow your relationship with Jesus, it's the same thing. It is the same.
But I guess that's my point.
There has to be time spent.
That's my point. Is the fact that there's time and effort involved gets glossed over.
Of course.
Right. It doesn't happen immediately.
We're in a microwave world.
Yes.
And I want to be. If you have an inclination to be able to want to preach, like you want to get, like I got saved 2 months ago, now I want to go preach.
Give it a minute.
Sit
down.
Just give me. I need you to calm down.
Right.
Like,
I applaud your hustle. Good hustle.
100%.
You know,
but I think the faith walk is so much like what Tyson said. Everybody has a plan to get. And the first time you get that spiritual attack, and then you realize, because the Bible very clearly says we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. The first time you get that spiritual attack, that's whenever you see, do you really believe what you're saying?
Right. Rubber meets the road.
And here's the thing, guys. As Chance said earlier about surrounding himself with people, you have to surround yourself with the right people. Right? That's why we always say iron sharpens iron. We just didn't come up with that on our own. We sharpen each other, right, on the match or life or whatever else it is.
Yeah, because there's been plenty of times that I've talked to people just to grow, right, outside of religion or whatever.
Right.
But so with that, like I knew, okay. And so to back up a year, I was given somebody I work with, he told me about this program that they were making at Lincoln Tech, right? And everything else, and asked me if I'd be interested in the position. I said, yeah. And I interviewed, and it just wasn't the right fit for me at that point.
Yeah.
And so we decided, okay, after prayer, and whenever I say we decided, and I literally mean from November of 23 to May of 24. Like that's the decision time. Like this inkling earlier in 23, okay, pushing it aside, walking, and then really getting this push. Okay, start praying about it and everything else, and test and everything else, and then decide, okay, it is time to move. With that, again, I had no idea how I was going to support or anything, but when we decided and Juby and I had a conversation, and we got everything situated on agreeable terms.
Right.
Knowing, okay, this is going to happen. My wife just got her Social Security card in February, so it's not like she's been working and we have this, and everything else. So, moving, knowing I was going to do what I was going to do, and figuring God was just going to, okay, well, tomorrow we'll come up with that, but this is the decision now. Once we decided, we decided, Juby and I, okay, agreed, everything else, we're good. I get a text message from Chris. As soon as everything was agreed upon, I get a text message, hey, that position that we talked about, are you still interested?
Wow.
within yes, let's talk. I call. He goes, hey, here's the deal. We found out, you interviewed and it just wasn't all right. But now you don't need all the experience we were thinking that you need. But now, would you be interested?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I started going through that interview process. And so now I am at a point where I have an amazing job through Lincoln Tech. I'm a career coach to students graduating from Lincoln Tech in this program. So I still get to coach and I still get to speak in, right?
Good.
It's all remote.
Okay.
I'm able to work in my own position, and everything that God was calling me to do at church, I'm able to do without the church having to worry about me.
Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
And so whenever I say, so all my long spiel, the preaching and all that is, if God is telling you to walk on water, then he's telling you to walk on water. You don't have to, if you truly know and you do the work and you hear his voice and you know and everything else, and whenever you step out in that faith, you don't have to worry about how it's going to just step out of the boat.
Yeah.
Right. There is a time to go do the things that he's calling you to. That's why it's called faith. And so, but she takes care of it. And now I'm able, so I am at the church now. I'm teaching evangelism classes and I just spoke to my pastor this week, and I'm once a month now I get to preach. Right. Okay. And so, it's all that
amazing.
It is. I'm very,
That's awesome.
It's been good. And if I told you I didn't miss, there's aspects that I miss.
Sure.
Which I think,
But you can still do.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. You can still do them.
I can't. Yeah. But I'm there and I'm able to do the things that
That's awesome.
the eternal stuff. Yeah.
Dude, listen, man, this has been an amazing,
It's been great podcasting.
great podcast. As we wrap this up,
Yeah.
I have obviously a reader.
Yes.
Okay. Chance and give me some.
I am totally a reader.
Dude, you were an audio book reader.
But only because I'm blind now.
Dude, you're not.
What kind of jerk are you, Jimmy? The man can't see and read, and now he's making fun of your blindness. This time.
Pastor Valdez, I apologize for these guys. Is that joking about blind people? is that your Anyway, give me some book recommendations, man.
So two. I'll give you two that have changed my perspective on life. The first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Andrew Carnegie.
Okay.
If you are a business person, if you are a non-business person, if you interact with human beings at all, you should read the book.
Okay.
And it will change your perspective 100% on that, because those people like to think that they're the most important person on, they think that the world, but reading that book opened your eyes to, if you really genuinely want to make friends and be able to influence, then you need to learn people.
Yes.
And so How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then the second one is besides the Bible. I mean, obviously the Bible first, right?
Yeah.
Right. But with that, my spiritual book that has changed is called The Bait of Satan.
Okay.
And it's all about the spirit of offense and how people, and I think in today's world, right? I think, and it goes for everybody, the religious, the non-religious, everybody. There's so much like, you don't believe me and now I'm mad. Yeah. But the Bait of Satan is all about how the spirit of offense will cause you to absolutely it decimates relationships, right? And understanding that it is a spiritual war on that, but the fact of chance is going to do chance. Yeah. I learned from an old theater, and the book kind of goes into it. There are three things that you can do that you can control: what you say, what you think, and what you do. And the fact that I know that I can't control any of those three things in your life or your life takes all pressure off of me to have to care about any of it. Right? Because the things that come out of your mouth, I get to choose. Actually, that's good. I want to hold on to that, or that's complete. That's something I would never.
Yeah,
I'm good with. And the beauty of it is I don't have to let you know that.
Yep.
And just be like, dude, you are dumb.
And nor should you.
Well,
you should not tell people.
No.
Like, no, you're so going to tell me how dumb I am?
Not how do you call me blind?
Hey, as we rank, what category do you do jiu-jitsu in? Ultra heavyweight?
Yeah.
Hey, so all the ultra heavyweights out there, go find your emotional support white belt and go give them side control for it.
What you're doing is you're pouring back in.
Yeah, you're pouring back.
You're giving everything. So, but guys, thank you so much for it's been a
guys. What's the time? Go subscribe to stuff, Mr. Bolton.
No, there. You were too slow.
There you go. Your shit blocked me. We'll catch you guys next week. That's it.